years, I think all the way back to when Kok Yong and Beverly Neal Clinton, Neal Clinton, were co-chairs. And the reason I realized that is when I was working on a document, I said, oh, I better make a UU membership folder. Lo and behold, I had one, and there's a ton of stuff in it. So anyway, I haven't always been very active, but I guess technically I've been considered to be a member that long. Over the 20 plus years I've attended the church, I've been involved with various task forces. I was by default the chair of the worship committee. And I've been peripherally involved with a number of committees and RE. I actually have been board president a long time ago. Although the year that we created our vision and mission statement, I was actually the board president that year. So I don't see myself as a great committee chair. I'm kind of here by, I'll tell you why. I can be organized and I can create agendas basically with input. I'm not a real innovative thinker. So maybe those other skills that I have are all that's required to be committee chair. But with Mike's support, I feel like I can do this. And your all's support, everybody's. So I'm going to start by telling you a bit about the membership committee. I might go through this fast, but who we are, what we do well, and what we could improve on, and how we would like your input. So, oh, well, let me go back and say it's always good to keep in mind our mission and vision statements, even if we can't quote them exactly. We know that we want to be welcoming and open and support our members and friends and go out into the communities and do good in the world. Well, I'll talk about that later when Tina's in here. Okay, now where am I? All right. The goal of the membership committee is to provide support to our members and friends. That's what I believe first and foremost. We like to greet everybody attending the Sunday service, including new and potential members and visitors, and introduce them to others and make them feel welcomed. And I think Mike does a great job of that. I know Jennifer's working on it. A lot of us are introverts. I'm like, if you do Myers-Briggs, I'm like barely an introvert. I'm a high-functioning extrovert, but it does, you know, I do feel tired after that. But I'd like the whole congregation to be aware of speaking to visitors. And it's not always easy to talk to people we don't know. However, and then here's a bit of the responsibilities, a bit about the membership committee and responsibilities. Typically, it consists of a chairperson, the minister, and approximately 3 others. Currently, it's Tina, Mike, Kelly DeLessie, who does the milestones, and myself. So we're a little on the thin side. Pardon? You are? Oh, that's right. Kok Yong. Well, Mike and I rely a lot on Kok Yong for historical knowledge and people's names that we can't remember. We still could use another person or people who are willing to step into something I'm going to suggest in a little bit. Sorry, Kok Yong. I meant to ask Mike, who else? If Thank you. Oh, yes, Joyce, right. So for me, it feels thin only because I take on more responsibility than I need to take on. So I'll get better at not feeling that. Anyway, we send a letter of welcome to new members, as well as a membership packet, which I asked Mike about, and we're going to go through and see what we want to include in those packets. And I assume we now have electronic links to things about membership, maybe. Anyway, we're in the process of reviewing that. We regularly review the membership count, which I got together with Peg and Mike, and I have a link to the icon, but I haven't actually gone there, but I know how to look at the list. We invite potential members to join the church, but we also make clear to people who don't want to join that they're welcome as friends. And we make sure people have name tags, which I'm going to suggest that we all wear as part of being welcoming, and partly because Mike and I know that we lose people's names. I shouldn't be speaking for Mike, but we have talked about it. And, you know, when somebody might come and they might say, I know that person, but I don't know their name. And if they actually can see it on us, I think it's helpful. So, yeah, Peg makes the name tags for new members and visitors after a second visit. Mike takes attendance every Sunday service, and he has a cool list that I think Kakyung created for doing that. Sometimes it's just a count, but he's actually now recording people who are coming. We have the responsibility of notifying and removing from membership list any member who's been totally inactive for 2 years. And I don't want to go into this far, but the key word here is notifying. We notify that individual that we haven't been aware of their participation for the last 2 years, and we want to know if they'd like to remain on the active list. If they say no, or they don't respond in a reasonable period of time, which we're still working out what that is, they are removed, and we tell Peg in the office. And it's important so that a proper quorum can be determined for meetings where a quorum is required. Mike, did you want to talk about the directory, maintaining the directory and the community email list now, or do you want to do that later?
Why don't you mention it now? Let's see what people are.
So I also want to clarify what being active means. Doesn't mean you have to come to Sunday school service, because they can be active in some of their subsidiary time. We may not see them on Sundays.
Right, and I guess I didn't say, I said participation, that's a broad category, participation. That's good, thank you. So we often have to ask the various groups about a particular person, but as I said, if we tell them, well, we haven't been aware of their participation, and then they tell us, well, I'm a part of a covenant group, it's a little bit uncomfortable, but we'll try to make sure we cover as much as we can. Let's see, so this is kind of boring, but there is actually an article in the Constitution about membership committee, and it's open to anybody 18 years of age and over who is in sympathy with the purposes of the church and who expresses a desire to participate in its activities and support. We have a youth membership that's extended to our youth between the ages of 14 and 17 inclusive. Youth often sign the membership book after our coming of age program. Completing the coming of age program. And everybody is welcome without regard to age, gender, race, sexual or gender orientation, physical ability, or nationality. And there's no creed that is required for membership. You don't even have to memorize the principles and or the value statements. I can't remember I can remember all of them except generosity. That's like strange that I can't remember that. But Tara can help me with that. So that's what the Constitution says. So just like with any organization that has a constitution and bylaws, there are frequently policies, and we do have policies on becoming a member. So if you've been a member of another UU congregation, or you were born and raised as a UU, you can become a member just by signing the book. People who are interested in joining really need to attend at least several Sunday services, and ideally should attend several other church activities before deciding to join. Most people should take a class about Unitarian Universalism. Tina and I are talking about offering UU inquirers. I haven't set in, John had been sort of conducting the UU inquirers. I don't know if that's what he was using, but 101, yeah. And I haven't been able to sit in on any of those recently, so I spoke to Tina, and she's willing to help us get that going, and we'll be working on setting a date to welcome new members or acknowledge new members. I guess there's an alternative to do a directed reading and then meet with the minister. I don't know how frequently that happens, but it is an alternative. People thinking about joining need to understand the importance of contributing to the work of the congregation, either financially or by participation, hopefully both. I should have said and or, hopefully both. Also, people who are joining, well, I think this is going to change a little bit because we're going to work on a church covenant, and so hopefully when new members sign the book, they'll be signing a book that has our covenant in it. So it's really clear. I mean, when I signed the book, it's just, I'd gone through UU 101 or whatever, and I'd been here for several months. But anyway, people need to be aware that they're in general agreement with the UU principles and purposes and the affirmation, the vision and mission of this congregation or the covenant. So I don't know, does anybody here need to know about how you become a member and what it means? You can vote, you can hold an elected position. Yeah. So, well, let me go back. So let me just make clear that if someone says, I just want to be a friend, people are welcome to be friends. They just can't vote, and they can't hold elected positions, so board can't. I guess that means they can't be a committee chairperson either because it says council. So that's mainly what that means. So just in case anybody needs to know this is all in the Constitution and the, this probably exists online, but I'm old and I like paper. And so there is actually, this could probably stand to be updated in some ways. So it's the church manual. Huh? Well, yeah, I don't think it's all over 20 years old because I think maybe I did something when I was on the worship committee. We might have worked on it for members. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it needs to be updated. But just pointing out, it does exist, and it was very helpful for me to look at what the Constitution said about membership because I didn't know some of the details. So just in case anybody wants to know, if you need or want to deactivate your membership, hopefully nobody here is going to deactivate their membership. But when people move away and join another congregation, they do, it's polite to say, you know, I'm no longer going to be a member there so that we don't harass them about, do you want to stay a member? And we don't count them and that kind of thing. You can request to be moved to inactive status, so that might be that you're going away, like, you know, people at the lab get sent off. What is that called? Change of station, it used to be called. But they plan on returning. So you can, I did some of this double-sided and some single. So yes, you can request to be transferred from inactive to active if you resume participation or you've returned and your interest is renewed. And again, I'm not going to go over the removing people from the membership list. That just is. So, as part of being chair and some suggestions that were made to me, and Tyler clued me into this course, and then several other people have sent it. So I've been looking at a UU Institute course entitled Tending congregational life, guiding the membership journey is the first module of that. And I'm just going to talk about that mostly today, but it does relate to tending congregational life. So we've used a metaphor for years, path to membership. And it's helpful because it implies that membership is a journey in the same way life is a journey. But it can be unhelpful too in implying that there's an endpoint or a destination of signing the membership book, and once you arrive, the journey is complete. So this particular course, none of this is original from me. Like I said, I'm not an innovative thinker. But another more recent metaphor or mental model is spectrum of membership, and that articulates distinct levels of belonging to our faith communities. So if we look at this spectrum, you see there's first outreach on the upper left there, which the Revitalization Committee has been working on. There's a new communications committee that's been working on policy for our external and internal, Tina, communications? Or is it, yeah. So just the way we communicate, since we do so much electronically now. I know this committee exists. I don't know more than that, but if you want to know, there are people we can ask. So the outreach phase is focused more on the individual visitors who we hope will be welcomed when they come. So then we move into the welcoming when a person becomes more connected and engaged, and if they decide to become a member or remain a friend, they're still engaged and integrated. And if they want to become an official leader, they would need to sign the membership book if they hadn't already done so. But this model reflects the fact that we interact with faith communities in a lot of different ways beyond the traditional notion of membership, often deepening and possibly stepping back and hopefully stepping back in over the course of our lives. So if we add a little more complexity to this model, we can think of this membership journey as a spiral where we go deeper into faith development and relationship. And the thing I like about this spiral is I can see it going both ways. You know, you might become a leader, but you might step back into not being a leader for a while. A lot of people do that. So we're looking at hopefully going deeper into faith development and relationship. So we've tended to think of the membership journey as being focused on visitors and newcomers who may or may not want to become members. I like this image because it focuses on the potential new member as well as existing members, whether long-term, new, or wherever one is on their life and membership journey. So it represents possibilities that we might, I just kind of said this, revisit different stages of our journeys with the understanding that not everybody experiences every phase, every stage. So if we start at the outer part of the spiral and the curious, so it feels natural to talk about interacting with newcomers in a posture of curiosity, learning about their history and their hopes for the future. But we all have stories and hopes to share. So I'm going to ask some questions here that I'm not going to answer. How do we create opportunities for curiosity among our youth and our elders, as well as our visitors, and everybody in between? So then we move into the three invited, visitor, welcomed. That's creating a culture of hospitality doesn't have to be just for visitors. Ideally, we want to be mindful about how we make each other feel welcomed in all of our church programs and ministries, whether it's a book group, the finance committee, oh, horrors, or the worship arts team. I don't mind dealing with my own money. I don't like having responsibility for anybody else's. I would not be a good financial advisor. We want to make sure invitations are clear and detailed, have micro rituals of welcome, which we've just started last week and this week, of saying hello to people in the sanctuary. And we should get feedback about how welcomed people actually feel, and that can make hospitality an integral part of our culture And I think we do pretty well, but I guess it always seems like there might be things we could do better. So then we move into the regular connected friend. So how many people in this congregation and others describe an early experience of, I found my people? So that's the first step in the feeling of belonging, but it's not until there's a network of relationships where the feeling of belonging endures. There's an adage, a person needs to make at least 3 friends in the congregation if they're going to stay. Whether true or not, it's an idea. So as people come and go, life stages evolve, and relationships wax and wane, it's still important to make sure there are new connection opportunities for everyone in this community. So just want to keep working on that. So then we would move into engaged, steward, integrated. Along with the sense of belonging, we hope our congregation offers a connection to something that's greater than ourselves. So social justice, there are a number of social justice projects that come through. The faith development dimension of congregational life is what transforms the interconnected community into beloved community. A people of faith creating the world of our deepest longings. So people at the outer edges of this spiral can experience these things too, but as we go deeper into our faith development, our understanding of Unitarian Universalism becomes more nuanced and complex, hopefully. For the purposes of this model, we've moved into the leader and elder, and a leader is somebody who's been trusted with authority to provide direction and encouragement for others to live the mission and vision of the congregation or the covenant. An elder is somebody who's lived and examined life and has wisdom to share no matter what their age. So that's what I've been looking at, and that's about as far as I've gotten. It feels like a tall order. I hope we can continue to work together to maintain our beloved community, and it requires all of us. And in a minute, I want to hear your thoughts and ideas, but I want to share some of mine. And I'm going to put an article in The Voice. I don't know exactly how to go about some of these things, but it would be really helpful, I think I said this already, if everyone would wear their name tags. Mike's been our greeter for a long time, and he does a great job, but this is a new subject. Sometimes a lot of people come at once, and he can't greet every one of them. People who know where they're going or are running late will bypass the front greeters table. So I've been trying, that's why you've seen me up there. I've been trying to come a little early. I get distracted and then realize, I'm supposed to be up there. But just hand out an order of service and say hello to people so that everybody feels seen. I can't always be there, especially if the choir's singing or I'm hosting a forum and I'm feeling nervous or dealing with technology, which was smooth as silk today. I was no problem. And I thank Mike and Renee very much for that. And Tina, too, because I asked Tina, well, do I put it on a thumb drive or what do I do? I'm going to be gone for probably 6 weeks in November and December. So I'm trying to think about how to recruit people to a Sunday every other month, to come a little early, like 20 minutes early. You don't even have to be here that early. People don't really start coming typically till at least a quarter after. Today I sat towards the back because some people came late, and I could see kind of what was going on, and I got up and got an order of service or hearing assistance. So, do I have anything to? Oh yeah, and I'd also love to come to church without I love to come to church without responsibility once in a while, like to just be a member, a participant. We still have the small ways to serve, and I don't remember what was on it exactly in the past. I know flowers was one of the things, but I don't really remember hearing any feedback from the listening circles that anybody was particularly missing having fresh flowers. Anybody's welcome to provide them at any time, and we'll make especially if you do it through the office. That's how we used to do it. People probably don't even remember that. They'll make their way up here. And if you want something noted about them, you can request that of the worship associate or Reverend Tina. I'm going to move into I have notes all over my typed notes. Worship associates. If you would like to be a worship associate on a given Sunday, there's a notebook. Yeah, so there's a script to follow. All you have to do, well, I don't like to just read when I come up here, so I usually read through it first, but there's a script to follow. And
we're going to be having a worship associate training on September 21st.
okay.
Open it up to a wide variety of folks.
Okay.
Ages.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So the first time I spoke in front of the congregation is when we did Joys and Concerns candles, and my heart felt like I was going to die, just getting up and speaking. I haven't died yet, being up here. So it does, I mean, you might feel a little anxious about it, but it gets easier. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, other small ways to serve. Barb has been great at this, making coffee on Sunday morning. If it feels daunting, you could partner with someone. You could ask one person to make the coffee and another decide to clean up, or could do it together. And all of these things, I'm thinking, are ways to connect with somebody else. If you're RE, yeah, there are tons of ways, and that's what I want to hear. If you're curious about the AV booth, or you have experience with AV, this is something Patrick suggested to me that is a good small way to serve. I think, the more people on that team, the fewer Sundays you're required to be there, or you could say, I'll do one Sunday every other month. I'm sure they'll work it out. So that's Renee Mitchell, Mike Bonneau, thank you, Mike, Galen Gisler, Patrick Webb. Is anybody else on that team? No. Well, I think Aaron might be joining. Aaron's learning, but Aaron's been sick, and Britton, So, yes, yeah, I've kind of had to step back from that. I own 2 houses right now, and I'm taking care of 2 yards, and I can't. So, and the work parties, there's always something for everybody. I mean, kids come, and now sometimes they might do something with their parents, but anyway. Now, what do you all? Oh, Mike has something to say about some of what we do. Mike, did you want to do that? Yeah, go ahead and come on up here so everybody can hear. I'm gonna get a drink of water. I keep trying to drink it.
Okay, so let me say, when I first came to this church, that was 48 years ago.
Yeah, raise it.
Okay, when I first came to this church, it was 48 years ago, and I remember I attended regularly, and nobody noticed me, literally. Nobody noticed me. Nobody said a word to me. Nobody greeted me as I came in. And now Kok Young was, of course, very involved in just about everything, but I just stepped back and observed, and that was okay. I was an introvert, and secret, I still am. So I watched. And I noticed that during social hour, the same group of people gather together each week, talking with their own friends, often about their own projects or committees. A lot of committees met after the service, and so there were groups of committee members, people doing business. I then, with Kok Young, visited many other large UU churches and found the same pattern. During social time, people talked with their friends about committee business. I remember at one large church, I noticed they made an attempt at outreach. There was a special brightly colored mugs. There were special brightly colored mugs especially for visitors, and visitors were encouraged to take one of these brightly colored mugs. So I decided to take one, and I took this bright mug and I wandered around waiting for someone to talk to me. And for a while I was ignored. People were too busy talking to their friends until eventually someone came up to me and he was carrying the same colored mug. This was his first time at a UU church anywhere, and no one had talked to him either. And so we had a very good conversation, and I could introduce him to UU. And that gave me a great idea that maybe I could talk to people at the church, even if they didn't talk to me. Especially, I decided to talk to newcomers. So that was basically how I started off greeting. I gradually talked to newcomers and got into it more and more. And then at that time, Claire Cox was diligently taking attendance every week, and she had a list of all the names. So I sat with Claire Cox and learned everybody's name and learned who was a member and who was a newcomer. So Claire Cox tutored me at first. And then sometimes she asked me to fill in for her when she couldn't be at church. And eventually she asked me to take over, so I joined the membership committee. Now, there are many ways of welcoming, and this is the key thing that I learned. There isn't one way of doing it. There is, this is something that, again, Kok Young was using, about 20 years ago, and this is by Peter Morales. It's called Ideas for Growth, and it's now online. You can find it online on YouTube, and it has a lot of good ideas, especially how many people have heard of the name Reverend Gail Geisingheiner? Anybody know Reverend Gail Geisingheiner? Okay, it's worth, I'll send out a link. It's worth listening to her talk. It was a talk she first gave, a sermon she first gave at GA, and it's really very moving, and it describes her first time at a church and how, and her experiences. There's a lot of valuable things, and I'll send out some links for this.
She is one of the first UU ministers to come out as a lesbian.
Yeah.
She was one of the earliest UU to come out as a lesbian.
I must look up and see if she must be still around somewhere, but maybe she's retired. But okay. Now, the point is, this church has changed. It's much friendlier than it was, thanks to all of you. And we need your ideas on participation. So there's a lot of material out there. There are things like this, and I'll send out the links to anybody who's interested. Let's see, getting involved with people, greeting people. One of the things it says on Peter Morales' original course was just saying hello is a step forward. And that again was very moving, the way that Gail Geisinger described it. She didn't expect people to even step forward and speak to her, and I'll let her speak for herself. So just saying hi, just saying hello is fine. Now, I am not good at making conversation. I am an introvert pretending to be a greeter, but many of you do it differently. But every way is better than nothing. That's the key thing here. Now, so far as getting to know people is concerned, I I was fortunate to work with Claire Cox, and she could tell me who was who and who was a member and who was not, because it can be a little embarrassing if you say to someone, you must be new here, is this your first time here? And they say, well, no, I was a member 20 years ago, and that indeed is what happened very much today. Now, my memory is not what it should be, but today it was interesting that there were quite a number of people who came who we had not seen for quite a while. So today I can count about 8 people who were new. Some of them were people who haven't come for a very long time. Like Anna Delane, when did she last come? 20 years ago, maybe, I'm guessing. So it's interesting how things are changing, and we need to take the energy that Tina's providing and build on it. And Tara, thank you, yes. And I should also comment now, the idea of taking some attendance. This is the sheet that Kok Young made up about 20 years ago, and it's a nice, useful sheet. And so I can keep track of who I haven't seen for 20 years. What was I going to say? All right. Oh, yes, I was going to say that last week there were 113 people last week in the building, yes, which I think is a record. I must see if I can find anything like that before. And today was only about 70 people, which is a lot better than we've been having recently, with a lot of new people. So anyway, the point is we need more people to get involved. I was briefly going to mention as Rebecca said, the online material. Now, there's an enormous amount of online material that we need to be more aware of. There is a church database which is the basis of what we have, with names and addresses. Sometimes they need to be updated. There is an online directory. Now, how many people here have access to the online directory, to the members section? Some of you apparently don't. All right.
A lot of people don't know how to access it.
All right. So let's work on that. We've got the resources, and we should make sure that those people who want to have access as they need to. Okay, so what are your ideas? That's the next thing. I'll pass this around just in case. But this is online. You can find us now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike, for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so speaking of that, we have a newish member who is very sensitive to noise, and I loved this finger snapping. So talking about change, culture change, I can see, so I also, some people do jazz hands. Oh, yeah. So I would like us to think about moving to you can do either one, finger snapping or sign language, jazz hands. I've kind of wanted that for a long time, because it seems weird to me to clap in church, but it was the culture of this church when I came, and I actually called this unchurch when I first came here, so I grew up Methodist. So I wanted to thank you, Mike, for all that. I wanted to make a couple of comments that we definitely want to focus on welcoming new people, but we want to welcome each other. I mean, as I said in my first slide, the goal of this committee, in my opinion, is to support our members and friends, the people that are here. I was thinking while Mike was talking, I read something in the paper, somebody complaining about Governor Lujan Grisham going out of the country when there's so many problems in New Mexico. So I was kind of thinking about, we need to make sure our base, which I consider all of us a foundation. While we might not be founding members, some of us are becoming the foundation. And we need to make sure that's strong but as well as looking outward. So, what do you guys have for us? What are you willing to do? Tyler. Oh, do we still have, here it is. It's on now. It's helpful to use a microphone. And this microphone you have to hold really close to your mouth.
As you were talking about greeters, I do coffee every 6 weeks, and I'm willing to be a greeter on the week I'm doing coffee.
So on the days you do coffee, is that
Yeah.
what you said? Okay.
And that might be a good general blend. Yeah, because
It doesn't work well for me when I do coffee. I'm too distracted. Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay,
Or
I've
you
got
can-
you down, Jennifer.
you can have a list like Barb
Yeah.
Franzak creates, and she
yeah.
said she put out a request for volunteers and got a bunch of people, so you might consider that.
And how do you think I make it not scary? Like just hand out the order of service as people come in. Is that good? Okay. Pardon? Oh, ushers. Yeah, and I did a little bit of that today because I didn't know how many people were in here. And so the people who came kind of once the service had sort of started, I said, oh, there's plenty of seats, sit wherever you want. So.
I have a quick question about that. How do you all feel about this arrangement? Do you like it? I like it. Okay. I don't know if it's too. Yeah. All right.
No, don't give it to me. Give it out there.
Passing is a big trouble because which side.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
Well, it wasn't a. Okay. It wasn't a problem for me. I just ran around, but was it distracting for me running around? Okay.
We just used 3 people instead of 2.
Oh, yeah. Susan has something, Tyler. Tyler.
In a comment or a question. I might have missed this because I missed the first 10 minutes or so, but it seems like that curious visitor stage, that people are almost certainly coming because there's something they're wanting, there's something they're looking for. And I wonder if there are ways that other congregations have figured out how to more quickly identify what that is for each visitor and try to sort of help them find how we might be able to meet their needs. We might not be able to, but most of the time we probably could. It would be just kind of how do we plug them in or introduce them to somebody or whatever. Have you run across anything like that, Rebecca?
Well, when I was looking through my membership folder, we used to have a little form for visitors to fill out. And I think it was like, is this your first time? Is this your second? I recycled it, but there are a few there. And I think there's, what's on that?
So when I was working in the office, we create these membership packets, and inside the packets there is a whole sheet of, you can take all the interest group that's happening. You put a check mark on what interests you. The problem is they don't return it though. They get it, they might feel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what we could do is during the UU Inquirers class, we could have them fill it out then. And I don't know, some people, or tell them that we have this and we'd like them to fill it out before the end of the class.
And we can also like start mentioning that we have these things in the welcome that we do every Sunday
Right,
morning.
right.
So
So here,
Yeah,
let
'cause
me
I'm
just
thinking
tell
about
you,
people who are at this, very beginning, and the whole idea of a membership packet might intimidate them. It's kind of like we want to know. Oh, okay. I thought you
visitors
said-
packet. Yeah, we have
Okay.
two different things.
Okay.
I don't know if this would be an idea that would, well, here's the idea, is do an invitational, not handout, but do we have any type, is Tina would probably know. Tina, are there any introductions to Unitarianism film available? Yeah, we could. Like come and see what it's about? And just invite the general public saying, this is what we do.
yeah, I'm sure the UUA has something.
And just to, especially with the younger crowd.
Yeah. Right, something online.
Well, something that we can have on
We can view together. We can
a social, a social thing.
A social. Oh,
Come and
okay.
see what we do, or
have like
Okay.
a new, like,
curious.
potential UUs. I don't know what we call it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Curious. Are you curious? Mm-hmm.
with 2 U's, are you curious?
Yeah, there you go.
We can't spell.
Yeah.
So on the badges, I think there's probably some improvements that can be made. I think definitely we should add a little flag on them for people that are on the board or possibly even on the council, just so folks know who some of the leaders are in the church if they have some questions about leadership. And I've seen different colored lanyards at other UU churches
Tina
for
has
different
used
things.
this for RE.
Yeah, so I've seen it for choir member, a variety of different reasons. And it kind of just, you see people with these, even, I don't even know if they were lanyards, to be honest with you, but they were something that they wore. And it kind of makes you want to go ask that person, hey, what's that for? You know? And it gives them an
that's a good
opportunity
idea.
then to maybe recruit you as a part of their answer. So you can, I am going to be gone the next 2 weeks. However, I'm willing to help with the badges if we need
Okay.
help with that.
Okay, great, thank you.
That did come up at the board meeting or the board retreat, FYI.
Okay. Tina?
I also think it would be good if we're doing this Inquirers Class 2, and Rebecca and I are talking about this. It's a curriculum through the First Congregation in Dallas and First UU Congregation, and it's a curriculum that is called Pathways, and it has curricula offerings from visitor all the way to empowering leaders, right? And we have a subscription to this, so there's like UU history, there's spiritual practices classes. We did coming of age for adults. There's like, numerous UU inquirers, beyond inquirers, and then spiritual or leadership as a spiritual practice, right? And so there's all of these course offerings that we can include, but Rebecca's only one person, and she needs help co-facilitating these types of things, and so we need to build some more folks who can help you, and if we can get those people to announce that we
Yeah.
want.
Tina gave me access to a piece of this, and I just haven't had a chance to look at it, but I will.
So yeah, it's great stuff, and you're gonna be gone for a couple months. So again, like we do need folks to help
Yeah,
you.
and I know Mike is willing to support all these things, but Mike and I have discovered we're not getting any younger. And yeah, can you, yeah. So unfortunately, energy levels do change. So,
I was just saying I want to see about recruiting some kids to be greeters and helping with that. So,
yes, that's a good idea.
And while I have the mic, I'll just say we're working on a lot of things with welcoming, connecting, multi-generational stuff. I'm super excited. So,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
and you know, kids could hand out the order of service. I mean,
Right, yeah.
for me, one of the reasons I like being involved with the RE is I want to know kids, and I also don't have contact. I mean, honestly, I tell you, it's eye-opening when you don't have contact with that sort of middle school, early high school age. You know, my kids are old now, and my granddaughters are young, and they live far away. So it's nice to see kids. Yeah. You know what? If you can, that we used to have somebody who brought a dog regularly. Patrick's friend. I don't remember her name. She had a German Shepherd, and she brought that dog. Oh, well, Jenny has pad foot. So support animals. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Did you guys hear that? We're going to do a blessing of the animals service. So it's getting late. I don't want to keep you guys. Does anybody else have any? So how about this? If you have access to the online directory, you can find my email. Mike, I'll tell you, early on when they changed that whole thing, I don't even have a password. I just connect with Google, and it just connects. So when you go to the members only, or it doesn't say members only, I think, but members page or tab, it comes up to the ways of accessing the membership directory. I just click on login with Google, and it happens. So. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. To Mike? Is that who we should? Yeah. To the webmaster. Yeah, webmaster at UULA. Is it UULA-webmaster? No, it's just webmaster. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Tina.
Let's set that up at a, yeah, let's
Yeah.
all this instructions and send it out to people because we're not, yeah.
And maybe even at a forum, just some interesting things like this. Maybe open it up to that kind of, maybe sort of a smorgasbord of things that are available. Like AARP just did a thing, 19 things your smartphone can do that you didn't know about. So 10 things that, you can access at the church you may not know about. And so I don't know who all would be involved in that, but I would.
Yeah, me and Mike are going to meet soon, so we'll talk about some of this, like accessing the website stuff and the directory and all the things. I just wanted to say that I know we have a publicity team. Tyler's on that. Jamie Cole-Host is on that. Paul Zimek. And working on just, ads for our church in the papers that you may have seen. If you want to write about, are you curious about UUism, right? Like, if you want to write an editorial, do it. Like,
but pass it through that committee.
But yeah, pass it through me or the board. Yeah.
You can't just post something.
You can't just do it. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't.
Yeah, pass it through the board or the minister. That's going to be the venue. To pass it through.
Okay. So the publicity team is different from the communications. Okay. Yeah, the communications team is working on a communication policy. And that's one thing I know they're doing. Anybody else? I know it's way past the time that I had hoped we could end, but we started a little late too. So I really appreciate you all coming. I had visions of just Mike and me being here, and Tina. So I knew Tyler would come if he could. He's been ill and must be feeling enough better to be here. So Tyler and Teresa are really driving the revitalization committee. If anybody wants to know anything about that, you can talk to me or them. Michael DeLacy is also on it. I think we've made big strides in trying to bring us together and bring people who might want to come back. I'm sorry, I'm clicking this pen. A reunion? You know, why don't, I hate to put that on Barb Franzak, but if you're willing to help with something like that you have an idea of, maybe go through the revitalization committee, because that's one thing that we're there for, is to reach out to the various committees or to put you in touch with who you would want to be talking to about that.
And actually going back in time and finding those people who are still living and interviewing.
That's a great idea. You know, and I have to give kudos to Susan in I give you kudos in staying connected to our older members who maybe don't come. Our jewels, our living treasures. Yeah. So it takes a village, of course. We are a village, and it takes all of us. And we all contribute, everybody in this room contributes in some way, large and small. Beth did, what is our Dr. Seuss camp this summer? She made, I tell you, the balloon animals were a big hit. And obviously you're here today, so that's nice. And so I think you guys can go, and thank you so much. And any ideas you have, send our way. Mike, me, Tina, Scott Young. I can only snap my fingers reliably with my left hand. Isn't that weird? I'm right-handed.